Hey, Necessary. Nice to see you. Thanks for dropping by. It's probably just going to be a fairly short, quiet little video. I'm keeping the studio lights off because I've had so much like allergy, sneezing stuff and everything, and my face is kind of sore. My eyes are sore. But anyway, I don't feel too bad. As usual, I was doing all sorts of, checkups and things like I do in the morning. I do all my checkup stuff in the morning because I'd like to know what's going on out there on our planet. And part of me is just completely blown away how predictable it is, the way the world is right now. Part of me is just very, very calm and just saying, well, told you so. Well, what did you expect? Duh. And you put it all together and it starts to, eventually it all comes back, it gets reflected in the media. People start talking, people notice things, they start talking. Journalists, reporters, news sites. Doesn't matter whether you're a hardcore lefty communist, a propaganda machine, or whether you're an American patriot or a European liberal, or it kind of doesn't matter. There are certain stories and themes that just go global because they are of global interest. So however good or bad they are, it makes me feel good, like I'm not stupid. I can see these things in the astrology, and it's predictable. I'm not an expert, just seriously, I'm not an expert. I think there's other astrologers out there who probably are much more advanced than me, and they can go into great detail about all their charts and their angles and everything. The thing is that the ones that I know of, I find it really hard to listen to them, either because of the way they present, or or perhaps it's like very, very slow presentation, gobs and gods of academic detail, and really, I'm just sort of like one of those people. Give me the headline. I just want to know what's going on. Who's doing what to who, when, why, where, how, all of that. And I will find the astrology, So anyway, that's what's going on right now. Part of me is a bit exhausted because there's a deep part of me that is fearful because some of the stuff that I'm seeing, some of the stuff that I'm predicting, is very frightening. It's very disturbing. And I'm realizing that I'm very lucky because I'm not at this very moment directly impacted. But the way things are going... A little dark in there. Oh, yeah, okay. Oh, all right, I'll turn on a light. I'll just put on a studio light, okay? Just give me a second here. Where will I go? I'll go over here. I'll put on a couple. All right, here we go. Oh, ow, 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 ow. Okie dokie. Okay, so here I am. Thank you, Necessary. I feel like hibernating. I'm getting these... It's my own personal astrology, and I have to acknowledge what's going on with me personally and my observations. And I like to stay, I like to stay as calm and centered as possible. Bubba? Bubba and Boo Boo are curled up together in a ball in their special nest. Shh. All right, behind the scenes. Like, like one of the first things I do in the morning, very first things is I go on my online and I I look at the charts, and first thing I look for is the moon. What's the moon doing? Where is it? What are the angles? What are the transits? What are the squares? What are the sextiles? What are the oppositions? What are the conjunctions? And so on and so on. And then I do my calculation, and then I kind of go, okay, well, that's how it is. Everything is exactly as it should be. Why is that so? How is that so? Because it can't be any other way. So deal with it. It is what it is. For the last couple of days, the moon has been in Aries, and we're now on the cusp switching into Taurus. So the energy is going to change. Whether anyone else feels it or not, I don't know. I don't care. It's really not my business. I do it for myself because I need to know. If I don't track these things, I can get a little bit disoriented, and I need to have something to blame. And then when I find something and I can blame, it brings me back to center. Like, see, I told you the moon is doing this and doing that with Jupiter and Venus and whatever. So there we go. Yeah. And that would explain. I like to understand, like, why am I getting super anxious? Why do I feel calm? Why do I feel so relaxed? Why do I feel so confused? Why do I feel so optimistic? Why do I feel so frightened? It's feelings. A lot of the way that people operate is through their feelings, whether they like it or know it or not. It's easy to confuse feelings with thoughts. Personally, I feel that feelings are the precursor to thoughts. Hello, Ivona. Hello, Esther. I'm not going to do any readings this evening. I just wanted to go through a few things to update my channel, get some stuff out there for you. It's already Thursday. I've been wanting to do like a little show every day, even if it's 5 or 10 minutes, but I'm finding it very, very hard to do, and I just don't know why. So I end up doing spontaneous things that seem to kind of fit in with whatever else is going on. So I don't feel like I'm doing as good a job as I could do. In ways, it's kind of like it doesn't even matter anyway. The channel is effectively, apart from the kind donations of everybody, the channel is effectively just a charity operation. It's completely demonetized. More videos were cut and deleted, and I got more warnings, and some messages coming from Google and YouTube like, you need to watch your mouth, TL. All these kinds of things. I mean, it's ridiculous. It's pathetic. Why would these multi-billionaires and their multi-trillion-dollar corporations be scared of someone like me? It's pathetic. It's absolutely pathetic. Anyway, we're here and alive to tell the tale. I am craving freedom. I feel very kind of trapped and oppressed. The climate here is not good for me. It's definitely not good. Spring, summer, winter, fall, it doesn't matter. It's not good. There are episodes where it's better than other times, but in general, this is not good. I know I'm supposed to be here for certain reasons, and so I deal with it. But my body is not happy. I know about doing a locational astrology, and I've been doing some locational astrology for myself and loved ones, trying to see if there's an escape route, because I like to feel free. I'm very much in favor of freedom. I was born and raised by parents who were very, very, very strong advocates of freedom. They don't talk about it in the way that I do, but they were absolutely determined that their 3 adorable little cherubs of their children would be free. They would be able to grow up and be who they are. And I feel like I've been very blessed to have that and do that. But I'm a little bit concerned right now because I am feeling the walls closing in. And I'm very sensitive to this intrusion. And I don't like it. Some people don't know, some people don't care. Some people are in favor of the intrusions. Some people have no understanding of what it means to be free. Some people are born and raised under tyranny. If you come from North Korea, you don't know anything else. You're born and raised more or less in poverty, under complete, absolute 100% dictatorial control of their chubby little leader, who is a vicious despot. If you live in China or Myanmar or Zimbabwe or lots of other communist countries around the world, if you're born and raised in that, you don't know anything else. The thing is, I don't know if you've noticed, but I can see it. It's coming out very, very, very loud in my media that the Chinese people are coming apart. The whole of China is coming apart. It's physical and it's metaphorical. It's financial. It's absolutely terrifying. I mean, I'm not kidding. I would not want to be Chinese right now. If you think things are bad in America or Ukraine or the Middle East, okay, they have problems in the Middle East with the war and everything like that. But the devastation that's going on in China, it's on a whole other scale, okay? No, we do not want a despot. Right now, we are under, effectively under the, let's say, the oppression of some people in Washington, D.C. who are deliberately trying to destroy this country. That's their agenda. Agenda 2030, Agenda 2050, COP28, United Nations, World Health Organization, IMF, World Bank, World Economic Forum, CCP. They're all showing signs of extreme desperation as we approach Pluto in 29 degrees Capricorn. In other words, we're talking about the classic pyramid of power, control, and money, ambition. Okay? If you think of the Capricorn thing, you think of the 10th house. 10th house would represent the pinnacle of expression, of success, of manifestation. In a healthy way, that would mean, for example, the establishment of a very healthy, functional managerial system. For example, I don't know if any of you have done this, but if you've ever worked or been an employee in a situation where you love the job, you love your boss, you love the company, you love your co-workers. I have been fortunate to enjoy that now and again in my life. And that phenomenon comes from the top down. It's possible to run a successful business in a way that is not designed to strip mine all the value and anything and everything that they can get out of their so-called clients or customers or audience. It's very possible to have a company that people love. I don't see too much of that right now. America has gone too far. In the United States, we are kind of the pinnacle of corporate mastery, but they've taken it to the extreme where it's not about, like, a healthy corporation, a healthy business would be there to integrate with the community, to be part of the community, to be like on a little scale, it would be like the local community bank, the local community grocery store, the local community hardware store, the local community church group, the local community charity group, the local manufacturing something or other, manufacturing horses and carts or widgets or gadgets or stuff or things or shoes or furniture or televisions or something like that, whatever it might be. A lot of that has been destroyed in this country since Bill Clinton signed the NAFTA deal. America has been stripped out. And the corporations are now looking around America kind of going, well, what else can we get? We've already taken America to the limit with debt farming. Every debt cow in America is taken out to the max. It's like when you look at those pictures on the inside of a industrial cow farm where they are growing, tens of thousands of cattle and processing and feeding to get the maximum profit. And there's no concern for the cows or anything. There's no concern for the devastation of the local farmers or anything like that. And the cows are born and live and die in misery. They don't know anything else. They're just that's it. It's like a lot of the people in China. They don't know that they're debt cows on a slave camp. A lot of people in the United States do not know that they are debt cows on a debt farm. They're not aware. They have been conditioned and fed and nurtured to function as a debt cow, to serve up daily milk, daily energy that is being harvested, extracted, just like a dairy cow is milked. And all those resources, energy, power, money goes to the very, very, very top of the pinnacle of the Pluto in Capricorn 29 degrees corporate hellhole, which we are seeing right now. And at the 29 degree mark, which we're going to live through over the next few months, it's going to go global, where the whole phenomenon of everything I've just been talking about is reaching the point of desperation. A lot of countries have already collapsed, imploded. Argentina imploded, Venezuela's imploded, Zimbabwe's imploded, Sri Lanka's imploded, Lebanon imploded, Turkey imploded, probably a bunch of others that I don't know about. Europe is in deep trouble. The British Isles are in deep trouble. Canada's in deep trouble. Australia, New Zealand, Southeast Asia. China is absolutely being devastated right now. Everything I've just been talking about has been taken to the extreme. If I'm talking about the United States and the extreme perversion and distortion of the beautiful thing of Pluto and Capricorn, it's on a whole other magnitude in China, because China has zero. There's no. It's run by the CCP, and the CCP is hollow because their outward open objective is to lie to the people while simultaneously harvesting people. They do it in America, but it's in a much more, let's say, open and accepted way, and it's a much less extreme version of it. But I like to watch what's going on in China, because it's possible that could spread to the whole world. It's absolutely terrifying. Hundreds and hundreds of millions of people being, let's say, abandoned. They're basically expired. They are like expendables. They've been completely tapped out by the CCP, and the Chinese economy is completely imploding live, real time. Not only that, it's physically imploding with the earthquakes and the flooding and all of that stuff, the freezing and everything. Hello, Marilyn. Hello. So anyway, yeah, that's just kind of my little rant right now. I want to go to... I haven't actually made an astrodoodle for today. Let me explain a few things. Like right now, we have... the sun is just going into Capricorn today. So over the next, 28, 30 days or so, we're going to go through the sun in Capricorn season. And eventually the sun is going to conjoin with Pluto around the 28, 29 degree mark. So in about a month from now, please prepare yourself for some very extreme conditions on the global political stage, and that will also come out on the global financial stage. We're there already, and the pressure is very extreme. Excuse me, I got sinus nasal stuff going on. We've got Mercury in Capricorn. It's heading there right. Let me just check. I'm gonna go over. I'm just checking on the ephemeris. Hold on, give me a second. Mercury's already in Capricorn, and we are at the 8th degree or something. Mercury's going to conjoin Pluto in about 3 weeks. The Sun is going to conjoin Pluto in about, oh God, where's my other? Let's see. Sorry, wait a minute. I'm looking at the wrong ephemeris. Excuse me. Sorry. Hold on. All right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So Mercury's retrograde right now, and it's just retrograded back into Sagittarius. Okay, that makes more sense. It's going there tomorrow. We're in Capricorn right now, but it's going to retrograde back into Sagittarius soon. And then after a couple of weeks, it's going to move forward again and then grind into Capricorn early next year. So I'm going to be watching Pluto in Capricorn at the 29 degree mark very closely over the next few months, because it's eventually going to cross over into Aquarius, and then it's going to be global mayhem. I'm just letting you know. I'm just giving you a heads up. It's going to be political, financial mayhem. It could be like riots, wars, revolutions, protests. Highly unpredictable, highly volatile. That I can tell you. Let me go over here. And so those are the things I want to mention, right? We're going to see a lot of pressure in about 30 days. Well, there's going to be a series of pressures as the Sun moves over Pluto, as Mercury moves over Pluto, and we're going to see a lot of emphasis on the global corporate elite completely freaking out, trying to impose their demonic agenda across the world. They know it's falling apart. They know it's their moment. And if they don't grab this moment, if they don't capture the moment, they're going to lose it. So they're desperate. And so desperate people do desperate things. So these oligarchs, plutocrats, psychopaths, sociopaths who are basically running the world, anything from BlackRock to the World Economic Forum, they're doing anything and everything they can to push, force, pressure their agenda onto the whole of humanity. Just imagine, again, as I've said it many times, just imagine a huge cattle truck being loaded by processors and farmers and corporations, stuffing cows in to send them to the slaughterhouse. And some of the cows have figured out, I'm not going to do this anymore. The stench coming from the slaughterhouse is too much. I know what that is. I can smell it. It's the smell of death. I can smell fresh blood, and I'm not going to do it. And sometimes cows go berserk, and they jump the rails. They get very violent, they get very vicious, and they attack the loaders. We are at that point right now. We're reaching that point right now. Okay. Hold on, what's beeping? There's something beeping. Oh. Hold on a second, there's something beeping. I gotta catch this. I'm a little bit nervous. Stay there. Stay right there, don't go away. Gotta see if there's a problem here, because I'm kind of on a watch. I'm talking. And, what do we got here? What do I got? Oh, we're good. Okay, I'm back. I'm coming back. Thank you for your patience. Sorry about that. It's what happens sometimes on live shows. Okay. So anyway, I have not yet illustrated or highlighted my January 2024 ephemeris. I've just got a few basic marks in. But where we are right now, January and February are going to be tumultuous timestamps of change. Incredible to watch. Esther, you're already ahead of it. Well done. Cheers, everybody. I just wanted to go through a couple of things that are, to me, they are symptomatic of the absurdity and the insanity and the desperation, okay? You've probably all heard by now, because this is in fact a global headline. It's so extreme, it's so bizarre, it's such a joke that the whole world is watching. The state of Colorado, the beautiful, beautiful state of Colorado, is completely hijacked by George Soros' gang of seven Supreme Court judges. The profiles of those judges is pathetic. I watched it, I studied it. Anyway, on a 4-3 vote, they decided we're going to ban Trump from the ballot. Okay, there's other states that want to do the same thing, but they have not been able to make it happen. Colorado did it by decree, claiming that Trump, started an insurrection. And we already know that there's no insurrection. Trump was never tried. He was never found guilty of insurrection. He never started one. He never participated. But the media wants to dictate what's going on. And if the media is powerful enough and what? Hold on. I'm just reading Ivona's notes. Let's come back to that in a minute. I just want to finish the Colorado story. The Colorado story is not over because it's set off like a brush fire across the United States. There's a bunch of states all over, the blue states, the Democrat states, that want to do the same thing. And they're thinking, oh, well, if Colorado can do it, we can do it. Well, watch what happens. The whole thing's going to backfire because the Republicans are also saying, well, you know what? If they can block Donald Trump in Colorado, we are going to mandate the blockage of Biden in all the red states. How about that? That's a big fat middle finger. None of this stuff that's going on is legal. But it looks legal because they're judges and in their Supreme Courts. But and their Supreme Court is now going to have to go to the Supreme Court in Washington. I mean, it's so pathetic. It's just desperation. So the story's going to play out. We're going to see what happens. And to me, it's like a comedy show, but it's also very frightening because this is happening in America. And over here in little El Salvador, Bukele, the president there, who's very much a libertarian, who's releasing Salvador from its dictatorship, even though he's kind of a dictator, he was basically saying, and he tweeted, and it went all over the world, America, America, you can no longer lecture the rest of the world on how to do democracy. America is now the laughing stock of the rest of planet Earth because what's happening here is so stupid, so ludicrous. Everybody is aware on Earth, everybody on Earth is watching and is aware of what's going on down here in the South. Okay? They call it an invasion. Okay? It's bad. It's really, really bad, and it's by design. There are people up here in Washington who are trying to destroy America, and they're doing a fantastic job. They have a way to go, but it's going to be harder than they think. We've also got invasions coming from all the way up here, especially up around here and here, and I think a little bit up here. It's just incredible to watch. It's just mind-boggling news. I mean, it's just another little headline on an app, you know, but it's mind-boggling when you think of the scale. Yeah, it's turning into a massive circus. The whole thing is turning into a circus. So, where was I? Yeah. The new guy, Speaker Johnson, he runs the Senate, the House majority, and he's the Speaker of the House. And he's being very, very calm and quiet while the rest of Washington is just blowing up and going ballistic. Give us our money, give us our money, give us our money, gimme the money. Give me money for Ukraine, give me money for Israel, give me money to blow it all over the military-industrial complex and the medical-industrial complex. Give me that money now. The whole world is going to fall apart if Speaker Johnson does not give Chuck Schumer exactly what Chuck wants. And Johnson is just going, no, sorry. No money for you. We're all going on holiday right now, and I'm sorry if it hurts. There's no money for you. On the other hand, we could talk if you're willing to fix the border, lock it up, secure everything. Meanwhile, otherwise, no money for you. And the whole world is watching. It's just watching. Everyone in the world is watching just to see, like, how crazy is it to see America destroying itself live, real time, on media, in the media, on the mainstream news, and in the alternative news. It's just staggering. They're all watching. They're all watching. In disbelief. Who was it who said America has made a lot of enemies? I think that was Obama. And Obama is salivating right now because his new movie is quirky and successful. And he's probably thinking like, oh, I told you so. We're going to destroy America, and I'm doing everything I can to help. Okay? So anyway, I don't want to get too much into politics. You all know that I'm a patriot type. I'm very interested in reconstituting the Constitution. I think Biden is a criminal. I think the whole Biden administration is criminal. I think they should be in jail. They should be in prison. It's the worst of worst crimes. So, anyway, there's that part. The U.S. dollar, it's happening, and they do this, whatever it is, every 2 years or something, they do the budget. So please don't get into the politics here. People are who they are, and they are the way they are. Please do the live and let live thing. It's impossible to sort things out on a little tiny channel like this. And I don't want to hold a platform here for political opposition to fight it out. I'm not here for that. I am just simply sharing my opinions, and I'm glad that you guys like to hang out. So, yeah, we covered that. The dollar, the whole U.S. budget, trillions or whatever dollars, it's all in jeopardy right now because Johnson is basically saying, we're not going to sign this stupid deal. You want gazillions for Ukraine and Israel, but what about us here in America? Also, here's this other thing. Did you see this? Look at this one today. Did you see this one today? Michael Bloomberg, he's an extreme hardcore lefty over up in New York. And he's just recently, so far this year, he spent $500 million on advertising to try and basically persuade the American people to do this, to do that, to, find ways to destroy Trump, how to, be compassionate for all these people who are coming to America, coming to save America, because we can't survive without them. I mean, it's insane. So just do a little tiny quick calculation here. American population is about 340 million people. Bloomberg just spent 500 million people. If he really wanted to help, he could have simply written a check or created an app with an XRP distribution system and given every person in America $1 million. Every legal American citizen $1 million. Moms, dads, kids, grandkids, babies, each one gets $1 million. Bam. Can you imagine what that would do for this country? Spending would skyrocket. The stock market would go crazy up. People would buy homes. Construction would expand. Grocery stores would be flooded with happy people. It's mind-boggling. Just absolutely staggering, mind-boggling when you think about it. All right. Where was I? What's the other one? Where was I? Hold on. I got to go back here. Give me a second. Okay. All right. I just wanted to mention all that stuff. I'm just mentioning the things that in some ways they blow my mind, but on the other hand, it's so highly predictable. The things that I can't predict, even with my best efforts with the astrology, is the details of how the main themes will play out. I've been talking for probably a couple of years now about the collapse of China. And in the last few months, I've been talking about the implosion of China live in real time, which is happening now. But again, I don't know the exact details. Okay? Now, I pointed that out recently because of the massive oppositions a while back during the Scorpio season. I predicted that China is going to implode live in real time. There was that thing simultaneously, and that was also affecting the whole the global financial system. That is actually happening live in real time, okay? On top of that, that was the Scorpio-Taurus axis, if anybody of you can remember. Right now, at this moment, we have Venus in Scorpio opposing Uranus in Taurus, a very, very tight opposition. So in a way, it's like a little sweet spot in the middle of a nightmare. And some of the headlines that I've seen on the financial channels are like, what's going on inside America? Why isn't the stock market imploding? Why are housing prices still, at record highs? This doesn't seem to make sense. Why is gold still high? Why hasn't the American economy collapsed? Well, we do have some insulation that they don't have in China. We have a legal system and a financial system that's quite different. So, anyway, the next thing I wanted to mention, so I guess I'm doing a bit of astrology right now. The Taurus-Scorpio axis, global financial system, is basically fracturing. In real time, it is fracturing. We're looking at the BRICS nations. They are building up huge momentum to decouple from the United States. United States is doing whatever they can to decouple from China. And so it's global. It's global restructuring, just like I wrote in my little famous book. Okay, I wrote this years ago, talking about what's happening today. Anyway, massive global instability, and it's going to become much more unstable on the global financial scale. Okay, so just do whatever you can to prepare We already know about the volatile, violent hotspots that are exploding over here in Eastern Europe, Ukraine, over here in the Middle East, fermenting over here in China, Taiwan. But it's actually all over the world. All over the world there are big brush fires and small brush fires that are sparking. Sparking, sparking, sparking. And I believe there will inevitably be a sort of the little tiny sparks and brush fires will expand and cover the whole earth in some way or another. And everyone's going to feel it on a larger scale. Right now, obviously, the United States, we're being invaded, and there's already a lot of sleeper cells here from very, very malicious people who are just waiting for their signals from here and from here about how to do malicious things on the United States, destroying our infrastructure, train tracks, farms, factories, oil and gas lines, electricity lines, internet, airports, bridges, all of it. Anything they can do to destroy American infrastructure so that we become crippled. And then they shut this down over here, the food access from here, the food access from here, the food access from here. So it's like a siege. It's like a good old-fashioned siege. And the global elites of the elites of the elites, their main number one obstacle to their Agenda 2030, Agenda 2050 is here. Especially the American patriots. Okay? There's a lot of things I'd like to talk about, but my channel is already so desperate, and if I talk about it openly the way I'd like to, I won't even have a channel anymore. So I'm trying to be very, let's say, polite or guarded, or let's say I'm repressing my words and my language. The other thing I wanted to mention is, again, as predicted, with Uranus and Taurus approaching these high degrees, it's going to get much more extreme. Once, in the next couple of years, once we get to the cusp of Uranus and Taurus with Uranus and Gemini, we're going to see tremendous volatility on Earth. In other words, volcanoes, earthquakes, tornadoes, extreme disparities in heat, cold, flooding, auroras, bizarre storms, really, really extreme, weird, and bizarre stuff. Because not only is Uranus in Taurus right now, there's the financial aspect and there's the physical aspect. Not only that, we're dealing with patterns with the solar cycles. There's the 11-year solar cycle, very, very predictable, cooler to hotter, cooler to hotter, cooler to hotter, increasing solar flares, diminishing solar flares. And then there's a 6,000-year cycle, then there's a 12,000-year cycle. On top of that, there's the wobble of the physical. There's a wobble that happens in what's it called? The axis of the Earth. I'm not talking about the magnetic pole. I'm talking about the actual axis of the Earth, which is at an angle to the solar plane of our solar system. Every 20,000 years, the Earth does. Okay, let me do that again. Every 20,000 years, the Earth goes, let's say it does this, from here, a couple of degrees to there. And then it stays there for 20,000 years, and then it goes back over here, and then over to here, and then over to here. And it's been doing that for billions of years. All right, so they can measure it through, digging ice crystals and digging down into the Earth. They can measure these things pretty exactly, and down to a 200-year period. They can measure it very precisely. So about 5,000 years ago, they detected very precisely that the Earth went from to okay? And over a 200-year period, the rich, luscious, watery Sahara over here, it was filled with enormous lakes, much bigger lakes than the Great Lakes over here in America. Like 3 enormous lakes and a massive river system. Within 200 years, that disappeared completely. The water just sunk deeper into the ground, and then the axis shifted so that this area of world became a lot more like angled towards the sun. And it's going to stay now here. So that was 5,000 years ago. So we have another 15,000 years of Sahara Desert. So guess what? That's going to expand and expand, and all the people who live here are going to become even more desperate, okay? So please plan for that in case you have friends or family there. The weather in the Sahara, by the way, affects the weather in the rest of the world. So please understand, like in the United States, for example, the chances are desertification is going to increase over here, and this is probably going to become hotter and more swampy. And also, because of the magnetic pole shifts, that's nothing to do with what I just talked about, the magnetic pole shift, which is to do with what goes on inside the core of the Earth, that is also wobbling around seriously. And when that wobbles, it tends to make the South Pole and the North Pole weather patterns, that there's like these pockets of weather up here and here, they tend to shift and wobble out of their normal pattern. And so we're getting these bizarre anomalies where they've had extreme hyper cold all over here, and yet over here in Canada it's super, super warm. Bizarre. Totally bizarre. But then again, what do you expect with Uranus and Taurus? All right, so again, back to the physiology of Earth, the physicality of Earth. Again, I'm focusing here on China right now because you've probably heard about it. China just had some enormous earthquakes over here in this part of China, okay? China is susceptible to earthquakes. This is the biggest, most active earthquake zone in the world, one of them over here. And it puts a tremendous amount of pressure. The tectonic plate moves from here to here. So the whole of China is always under pressure from here. So the big earthquakes were over here. And today, as of this evening, they've counted about 300 dead and about 370,000 houses and buildings completely destroyed. That's huge. It's absolutely huge. Very, very strange, bizarre phenomenon are happening as well, because the earthquakes do this, and it takes the land and it turns it into almost like a fluid. The earth and the topsoil and the land almost turns into like a fluid, so it looks like sand or mud. And then that just spreads as if it is a fluid. It's actually dirt and rocks, but it behaves like a fluid. And then that has buried and devastated thousands of homes and families and towns and villages. It's absolutely bizarre and frightening. Of course, the CCP is in complete denial. It's interesting because simultaneously the CCP economy is imploding. We talked about that earlier, but I'm focusing on, there's two aspects to the implosion of China. There's number one, the Uranus and Taurus aspect, Scorpio-Taurus thing. But there's also, well, actually there's 3 layers now I think about it. There's 3 layers. The Uranus and Taurus thing affects the whole of Earth. China is very susceptible, so that's why we're seeing so many terrifying things happening inside China. Also, regarding the Earth itself, as you know, Iceland has been having huge amounts of well-predicted earthquakes recently, and the earthquakes open up along a very, very long pathway over here because there's a huge fault line, and it's not really a volcano. It's like just a fault line, but enormous amounts of lava have been flooding out of there, and it's calming down now. They also just had a huge earthquake. Where was it? Was it today or yesterday? Somewhere over here. Of course, that's highly vulnerable too. Next, the other thing. Okay, I mentioned the Iceland quakes. Yeah, volcanoes and lava. I mentioned Uranus. Okay. China's CCP. They're desperate, okay? China is desperate. The Communist Party is absolutely desperate. And Xi Jinping is issuing very, very blunt but subtle threats to Grandpa Joe. In other words, if you don't cough up American money to rescue China, I'm going to take Taiwan whether you like it or know it or not. Anyway, okay, I'm going to do it. I'll do it this way. Let me just do a little very, very rapid thing here. Okay, there's like mini astrodoodle. We had the Taurus-Scorpio axis, okay? There's the Taurus, and there's the Scorpio axis, okay? That's all about the global financial system. It's still under extreme stress. Okay? In other words, the American markets, stock markets, inflation, the United States debt, 34 trillion. We're very, very, very close. 34 trillion. The U.S. debt clock is terrifying to watch. Global financial system is also deeply affected by the United States Federal Reserve and their ridiculous, irresponsible behavior in their ridiculous game with the Treasury and Washington. Absolutely ridiculous. And the funding of the American government. Absolutely ridiculous stuff going on there. The next thing I wanted to point out, I've talked about this a lot before as well, is we've got Neptune over here, 24 degrees Pisces, and we've just been dealing with Sun and Mars and Mercury over there in the Sagittarius vibe. And I predicted weeks and weeks ago, that as this axis came into a very, very hard square, right now this is an opposition, this is a very hard T-square, this has been going at multiple angles for like 2 or 3 weeks now. The Sun is going to move away, but Mars, okay, Mars is in a I would say, what is it, a couple of weeks or so, Mars is going to be right here at 24 degrees. And when Mars hits 24 degrees, it's going to be an extremely harsh pressure on Neptune, okay? And that's going to become like a very, very volatile, vicious, almost violent way that it's going to express itself in the, I would say, the political arena here in America. It's going to get vicious. Things are going to get vicious inside America as because the Democrats are absolutely desperate, and Trump is under extreme pressure. Okay, it's mind-boggling to watch. But what this does, it exposes. If you think of this as flashlights, very, very powerful flashlights and extractor beams pointing on this energy here, which represents all the fraud, deception, theft, lies, betrayal, corruption, treason, everything that's been going on in the United States by the certain grandpa and his crime family. It's going to be exposed. It's going to be exposed, and it's going to be held accountable. And one of the challenges is that in the exposure of the criminality of what's going on in Washington, it puts the whole of Washington under a spotlight, because the whole of Washington is operating now kind of like a criminal enterprise. Okay? So it's going to be very, let's say, interesting to watch. Now, that's for America. Now, for China, this thing is highly relevant for China because why? China has second house. I can't do it here. Maybe I can. Yes, I'll do it here. Okay. The reason why China is in so much trouble right now is because let's call it CCP, not China. Let's call it the CCP. This is the CCP. They are in deep, deep, deep trouble. Okay? Every morning. Okay, over here. This is the Uranus. Look at this. Okay. For the last 14 years, China has been deluding itself and tricking itself and its own people into being the most glorious, spectacular economic phenomenon in the whole world, only to be discovered that it's absolutely fraudulent. This Neptune is here right now inside China, and it's under tremendous pressure. So the financial system, this is the second house of money, okay? Real money. The value inside China is being exposed as being completely and utterly fraudulent. That's the whole Chinese economy is based on fraud, theft, deception, blackmail, coercion, murder, to do what they do. And they've done a very, very good job of destroying their own country and destroying their people. Okay? It's going to get worse and worse and worse. Okay? Neptune is still here. It's going to be here for years more. Okay? Uranus over here in the Chinese fourth house. Look at that. It means chaotic disruptions, fault lines at the foundations of their world. In other words, all the floods, fires, hurricanes, earthquakes, massive biological, physical destruction is happening right now in China. So this is item 1. Item 2. This is really bad for China. This is really bad for China. Mars, Sun, and what was the other one? Mars and Sagittarius, Sun and Sagittarius. It was the Moon. But anyway, Moon has moved on. Disaster for China. Disaster for China. But there's even more to come. Because guess what? China has Aquarius rising and Moon in Aquarius, okay? So Pluto is here right now, okay? It's been there for the last 3 or 4 years. And that's why China is starting to implode. Because over the next few months, Pluto is going to go from Capricorn into Aquarius, okay? So when that happens, it's happening right now, China is going to be completely, let's just call it politely, transformed. Okay? Pluto destroys. Pluto destroys anything and everything that is not real, true, honest, pure. Okay? Anything that gets in the way of evolution. So, this is item 3. This is the deepest, biggest problem of all, but it's the hardest to see. This is the easiest to see. This is the second. This is the third. But you put all these together, the whole of the CCP, it's kind of, the way I see it, it's doomed. CCP is doomed, which I feel means the China and the Chinese people, especially the Chinese people, the innocent Chinese people are doomed. It's very scary. Very, very scary. I'm not going to go on about America. I'm not going to do the United States. That's a whole other story. I don't have any energy to do it. No, that's not. I can put that over here. But anyway, I just wanted to get those little notes out there for you so that you can kind of prepare. You know? Oh, wait a minute. I wish I had done this at the very beginning. I don't know if anyone's still here. But let me show you something. This is absolutely beautiful. You know, I like to keep an eye on the planets and what's going on out there. Let me see if I can do this. I'm going to try and show you something on my tablet. Okay, bear with me. This is pretty...
lava out not far from the town they evacuated a few weeks ago. Good coverage of this one online, and you can easily find more information. There was a deadly earthquake in China. The near crustal depth caused more extreme shaking from this one, and more than 100 people are reported dead in the event. The searches are ongoing.
Okay.
We've got some eye candy up next.
Look at this! Look at this!
Space telescope, as it's taken its best shot of Uranus so far. We see the polar cap, which is currently pointed at the sun, all the rings and moons, and several bright storms in the atmosphere as well. It's Uranus, like we've never seen it before. Up next is something I hope takes excessive ridicule and goes absolutely no further than it already has. They are attempting to determine the...
Anyway, I just wanted to share... To me, that's just spectacular. That was just spectacular. The fact that us little human beings, us little squishy blobs with hard bones inside, we figured a way to get a spaceship all the way out to Uranus, billions and billions and billions of miles away, almost to the end of our solar system, and take these really cool pictures and send the pictures back. And you can see the last pictures that I ever saw of Uranus was that it's like this, it's an enormous gas planet, okay? It's all gas. I don't know what the gas is, but it's all gas. And to us it looks blue. That's the best they've been able to do with most telescopes. But with this Cassini craft, I think it's Cassini, you could see that Uranus has rings sort of like Saturn, and it has about 8 or 9 moons. It's amazing. It's absolutely amazing to see. And it's happening like right now, where the energy of Uranus is so important in terms of the experience here on Earth and the discovery of how Uranus correlates to certain experience here on Earth. Just, it blew my mind when I saw that. I'm going to try and find more pictures. But anyway, I just thought that was very beautiful. I wanted to share it with you. I know I talk about these scary things, but the reason I do that is because I feel I need to be aware. I like to know what's going on. Some people choose willful ignorance. I was reading about this amazing character today who used to be like a corporate marketing guru, and he gave it all up, gave everything away, and he changed his life to live tiny. So right now he has a barter lifestyle where he lives in a tiny home that he made himself by hand. He uses rainwater. He has a composting toilet. There's no electricity. He has no cell phone, no computer. If he wants to, he can go to a library or something. Excuse me. He has no passport. He has no driving license. He gave them all up. He pays no taxes. He has no traditional income. He operates on about $8,000 or $9,000 a year. And he lives with his tiny home on a property. He advertised, would anybody like, look here, look who's just showed up. He advertised if anybody had some spare land space on their turf where he could park his little tiny home in exchange for him providing property care, land care, farming care, and for gardens and animals and stuff like that. And so the deal worked out. So he seemed to be very, very happy. I thought I was very, yeah, he probably does not have a wife. Yeah. Yeah, there's not a lot of people who would, some people would. There are people who love to live that way, a few of them, but that's pretty extreme, you know. There's tiny homes and there's, you know, mobile homes and things like that and all that. But a lot of them have things like electricity and community retreat areas and all that kind of stuff, and internet and telephones and cars. So he's taken it to the extreme, but I'm not. I couldn't do that. I don't know how I'd make it. I don't know if I could. Anyway. Yeah. Anyway, I hope you enjoy my rant. I'm going to leave it for a while. My throat is very sore. I'm not coughing too much. Most of my sneezing is done for now, but who knows. It probably doesn't have a wife. It probably doesn't have a very good shower either. Maybe he's a little short on razor blades for shaving, and, you know, he's got to have clothes. I bet he doesn't make his own clothes. I bet he has to go to Walmart or Target or something. Ay, ay. Take care of yourselves, everybody. Protect your money. Protect your privacy. Protect yourself. It's nice to willingly be happy, even though things get very, very scary. It is possible to choose a mindset. It is possible to choose happiness. Even though you might be having palpitations like, oh my God, everything's turning to SHIT. Oh, I don't know what's going to happen. It is terrifying. I don't know what's going to... I don't know the details about what's going to happen. I'm just living my life like you guys, okay? Thanks for hanging out with me. I love hanging out with you guys. I like reading what you say. It's only a few... Actually, now I think about it, it's only... Today's the 21st. Oh, that's right. It's the winter solstice. It's the shortest day and the longest night. And the sun moves into Capricorn today. And the moon is going into Taurus. So that'll be kind of sweet, comfortable for a while, for a day or two. Nice, earthy, and comforting. I'm going to check out